In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a pinch pot. You've already seen how to wedge clay and kind of get it prepared for making. A lot of us have discussed it in class, but if you need a refresher or you were absent, this video is for you to show you how to make a pinch pot. So the first thing that you want to do after you've wedged your clay is you just want to get it into a nice round ball, a nice round sphere. So I'm just kind of tapping it into shape. You can roll it, but sometimes when you get really large amounts of clay, it becomes a little bit harder to roll. All right, so the next thing that we want to do to begin our pinch pot is we want to take our thumb and we want to stick it in the center of the clay until it's almost to the bottom, but not quite. We want it to be about 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to stick my thumb down into the clay, and then when I pull it out, I have a nice hole where I indented my thumb. The next step is to take your hand or your fingers and you're just going to evenly press on the inside and the outside at the same time. You're going to press and turn, press and turn, press and turn. So you want your walls to be an even thickness. As I'm doing this, I'm just turning it ever so slightly, and I'm stretching the clay and I'm making that opening bigger. You can check yourself along the way and make sure that you don't have any thin spots. You can just take your hand and your thumb and you can kind of pull it out. If your fingers stay the same width, you know that your walls are even. If they go from really thick to thin, you know that the base of it is thicker and that the top of it is thinner and you need to work out the base more. If it's thin and then your hand opens up as you go out, you know that the bottom is really thin and you need to thin out the top. All right. So again, I'm just pinching and turning, pinching and turning. I like to really work on the base and then kind of gradually go up. Usually what I'll do is I'll do a full turn at the base, so like the deepest part of the pinch pot. And after I've done a full turn, then I'll move my hand up a little bit. That helps to really get the base open and even. Now you'll notice that when I'm making this pinch pot, that I am holding it with one hand and turning it, and with the other hand I am pinching, okay? And I'm not pinching with a ton of pressure, it's just gentle pressure. We want to open the clay slowly, and we want to give it this nice bowl shape, okay? Sometimes what I see is that people will put their pieces of clay once they get it open, and that they'll take two hands and pinch it at the same time. I recommend that you don't do this because you can't give equal pressure, and often what ends up happening is the top gets really thin and then it flops open. So you just want to make sure that you are just pinching one at a time. Now I have a decent amount of clay here, and so I feel like I can sort of open it up and change the positioning of my hand to work with my clay a little better. Again, the goal is to have even walls. We want to try to keep that top of it pretty round. I'm noticing that the bottom's feeling heavy and a little thicker, so I'm going to set it down and I'm going to start pushing in the middle and then just kind of like working my way out and around as I go. Try to open up this base a little bit more. All the while, still bracing. All right, so I think we're about there. Again, if you start to see cracks along the rims, you can just take your thumb and you can smooth it out. But again, always make sure that you're bracing. Final step, and I could keep working at this a little bit longer, but I think that we're just about there. The final step will be to check your pinch pot. Now obviously you're not going to be checking it every time. We're only going to check it initially when we're using modeling clay. But to check your walls, what you can do, let me show you the pinch pot before it's done, is we can go ahead and we can slice it right down the middle. I'm taking a wire tool, wire cutter, slicing it, and you can see that the sides of this piece are pretty even, and that would be a successful pinch pot.